Just a little heads up, like always, my second channel will be linked below. I posted a really cute video with my rabbit Monty today that you've all been requesting. It'll be linked below. Please go subscribe. It's doing so well and I'm so happy. There's a lot of cute videos on that channel and there'll be more coming soon. So on with the video, but I'd really appreciate if you could go over and subscribe. Hey, say you came from this video. Period. Bye. Hi besties, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we got to talk about Trisha Paytas literally spilling all on Shane Dawson's comeback. Like, she goes to it and then she holds herself back, and then so much happens within the recent H3H3 podcast with Trisha that's very much so pro Shane Dawson, and they make a joke in it that the podcast is pro Shane Dawson and anti James Charles, and I get that them coming for James Charles and dragging him is like, you know, most of the time they're being lighthearted about it or whatever, but them branding themselves, and they quite literally say that the podcast is pro Shane Dawson and anti James Charles. Noise whenever I'm starting to be like, really? Like, we saw it a couple days ago where Trisha was just coming after James again, and now we all come after James, but it's like, again and again and again. And I think you completely contradict yourself. Like, on this channel we were talking about, Trisha basically said that, like, James was a leech and he was a pesticide, and started going on all this and said that he deserves to get cancelled, he deserves to get put off the platform. And then she's asked about Shane Dawson within the same breath, and she's like, oh, Shane is a gem, he deserves to never get cancelled. Never get cancelled, he is a gem. Like, this entire thing, he has taken accountability, he has apologized, he is great. Like, this entire thing, which in my opinion completely contra-fucking-dicted her trying to call out James Charles, because she was trying to, she was trying to come for James Charles by saying that he hangs around minors, whenever Trisha Paytas, you have done that with Jojo Siwa, and your best friend who you're saying never cancel Shane did that with many minors. Leah Marie, Jojo Siwa, all these other ones. I don't know their name because they're not that relevant, but I mean, all you need to do is look up videos. Rebecca Black, there was a big controversy with doing things with her whenever she was a minor, being inappropriate, you know, in that relationship, friendship they had as well. So Trisha, it's really, and you can't pull the card that, you know, James is just using them for clout or whatever, because what was Shane doing with Rebecca Black, Leah Marie, Jojo Siwa, and what were you doing with Jojo Siwa? It's really hypocritical in my opinion, and for a lot of people, and thank you everyone in the comments for bringing that to my awareness, where they were, you know, calling out Trisha for... Trisha and Ethan's main thing against James at this rate is literally that James is hanging around Charlie, and they're thinking it's inappropriate because it's a minor and James is 21. And thank you all for being like, yeah, but the person that Trisha is saying that, oh, she loves and never get cancelled, Shane Dawson did it way more than James did it. And Shane Dawson was a lot older than what James Charles is doing it. And again, it's just like, you know, justifying either or. Like, I don't think it should be, but it's just like, damn, So anyway, in this podcast, they basically are giving out awards for different things that have happened on YouTube. And one of the ones is Most Brutal Cancellation. And Shane Dawson is nominated and he actually wins it. Now, I want to show you a clip from it and then talk about a separate clip in which Trisha literally goes to say about what Shane's next plan is, and then goes like, oh, and holds herself back. Which is proving that Shane Dawson's comeback is a lot sooner than we think, and we've been saying it for ages now that we do believe he's coming back. There are rumors on the block that his first video back is going to be his wedding video with Ryland. I can see it. I'm not going to say whether I fully, you know, believe it, but I'm just going to say that that is something I can see, because I did think Shane was going to come back initially with a video over December period, you know, like a Christmas wholesome one. But I mean, him coming back with a wedding video with Ryland, first of all, is a great distraction, and anyone who would hate on it or call him out on it would be seen as like awful people because it's a wedding video. So I mean, business point of view, him coming back with, you know, a wedding thing is quite smart, but knowing Shane, he'll probably do like a 10-part series like leading up to the wedding and what Ryland has taught him and all this bullshit. So I mean, that's probably gonna be the truth, and I've seen a lot of people talking about that. So I mean, if that happens, you know what, we're saying it here. And but all I gotta say is, this podcast, again, they just, it's so weird how much they're up Shane's ass. Now I get it, Trisha, you're his best friend. Let's honestly just pull up the clip. First of all, of them talking about Shane getting cancelled and Trisha deflecting on why he was cancelled and then pushing it off. As you know, he gets cancelled every year. And this is the mentality, in my opinion, that Shane Dawson keeps getting cancelled every year. Because they're like, he just gets cancelled every year. And Shane said it again on a podcast with H3H3 in 2018. He said, you know, every 2 years people hate me, so I don't really care. That's the attitude here. So, of course, every 2 years people are going to do that and resurface it because they don't feel like you've addressed it or taken proper accountability. And Trisha, you saying that I've taken accountability, Shane's taken accountability, saying it and him titling his video doesn't equal taking accountability. And I think that's a very important conversation to have, Trisha. But anyway, let's pull up this clip. So this is from the Frenemies Podcast. You can go watch this. It's called We Made the Only Honest Award Show. Now, I have to say this podcast was really good. They were basically making fun of the streamies and doing like a more honest, like all these drama awards. It was really interesting, but just the one thing that pissed me off about it was the Shane segment. Now, again, I get that they both like Shane, but it's just hypocritical whenever they're so against James. Hold on. So here we go. So this is Shane being nominated. Then we're gonna talk.
So I mean that was a brutal one.
I mean,
for me, it's definitely it's definitely between, if you want to talk about brutal cancellation.
Yeah.
Shane and Chris were the biggest. They got stomped on the hardest this year.
Oh, and by the way, we've said this on this channel, and you probably know by now anyway, but let me actually move this over a bit so you can see Ethan. We know that Trisha was defending Shane like a motherfucker over summer while he was getting called out at his most. So again, we have to credit her that she is loyal, but again, that's because probably Shane has given her so much over, you know, her career as well. But however, she was a really good friend for sticking with him all over that. I'm giving her that. That's a compliment, Trisha.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Both of them are just gone.
Yeah, and I don't know Chris, but he seemed like a nice guy, and then all his friends turned against him.
I loved Chris.
Like, at least Shane had, like, I stood by him, like, his friends, he didn't lose, you know what I mean? Like, we stood by him,
the thing was
That's interesting, her saying that, you know, the friends didn't, you know, go against him, because many YouTubers, including the likes of, like, Gabby Hanna, were coming forward and saying that, you know, they were deleting their collabs with Shane Dawson. Joey Graceffa came forward and said that he doesn't stand by it. Lisa Schwartz, the girlfriend, said that, you know, she can't stand by it. So, I mean, her saying that, I think it's literally just like Trisha and Eugenia Cooney who stood by him, but
it's
I mean...
different in my opinion.
Okay.
With Shane, it's not like he necessarily did anything.
Yeah.
It's all like bad jokes from a long time ago.
Right.
Whereas Chris is like actively doing slimy stuff.
Tony Lopez actually admits, like, sexting 15-year-olds. How is he actually not canceled? Like, it's insane to me. So, yeah, like, and Shane's been canceled for this multiple times. Like, the fact that, like, the Smiths jumped in on it, like, 15 years later.
Smiths buried his ass.
It's like...
So here we're saying Ethan is like agreeing. So if you don't know, like Jada Smith and Jaden Smith came forward after the video resurfaced of Shane Dawson doing inappropriate things to a poster of Willow Smith when she was underage. I think she was like 13 or something, or 11 maybe. I don't know what age she was in it, but they came forward and they were like, this is disgusting and how dare you do this. And Ethan is agreeing that, you know what, they did end him in that, and that was whenever the cancellation of Shane went more mainstream. And Trisha since then started attacking the Smith family and deflecting away from it, and she's still doing it now, which shows that, in my opinion, because Trisha and Shane are so close, that this is Shane's attitude on it and why he hasn't apologized or even addressed the Smith family. Keep in mind, he made his video after they did their tweets and he ignored it.
Calm down, Jada Pinkett. Like, her daughter was posing topless at 13 with her 21-year-old boyfriend.
Yeah, what?
So maybe focus on that. Yeah, there's like a topless photo of Willow Smith at 13 years old with her 21-year-old boyfriend, Moses Aries or whatever his name is.
Who's 21-year-old boyfriend?
Willow Smith was 13 dating a 21-year-old actor named Moises Aries from the Disney. Look it up from the Disney.
Look that up right now. Somebody fact check that.
Right now.
I can't put that out there without knowing.
But fact check it.
It's not just like.
I would never put it there.
It's not just like. Look that up.
Look it up.
Somebody looking it up.
And like, don't like. I mean, the thing is like. That's what you should be worrying about. You know what I mean? Like.
Wait, I gotta know if that's true or not because.
You can pause. Yeah. I wouldn't say it if it's not.
A 13-year-old was dating a 21-year-old?
I mean, they say we're friends, but she's topless in bed with this guy.
That is insanely disturbing.
Moises Aries. Yep.
What?
He was a Disney Channel star, and he was like 20, 21 at the time of the photos, and she was 13.
They introduced him as a family friend, though.
But
why was he in bed with her and she was topless? How does that? Isn't that child? How's that out?
It's well, he was like covering her, she was covering herself or something, but it's disgusting. Focus on that. Did you watch the Red Table with Olivia Jade? And they were talking about how like she has all this privilege, white privilege. Okay, let's talk about rich people privilege. Your daughter has that too.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh my gosh, like you have this white privilege, but you also have rich privilege. You're parents are famous. That's why you can get away with that photo, and that's why it's
I mean,
so
Smith
crazy.
privilege is as powerful as anything on this planet.
It's the most powerful thing.
Yeah.
So don't even. I mean, it's. I have so many.
But
issues.
that whole Red Table show is like ruining their life. Like she's a clout goblin.
A clout goblin for sure.
Because she's like airing all their dirty laundry for views on Facebook, and it's like, and that's like, she goes, oh, I had an affair with this guy, and Will Smith is out there like...
Here we have, it's interesting, Ethan is changing his initial opinion as well, based on my Trisha going on this.
You know what I mean? Leave me out of
Or
it.
did you see the one where she's like, oh, let's debate on if it's okay that white people adopt black babies? I'm like, why would that not
Would you
be
rather
okay?
the black baby not have a family?
That's literally, they had the girl from Sex and the City who adopted an African American baby, and they had her on, and they're being like, is this weird that like white people
What did
are
they
doing
conclude?
this? I mean, it's always divided. It's always divided.
So this is now Shane winning the award. So back to Shane.
Total cancellation of 2020 goes
Here we go.
to,
This is when we start getting...
with a huge margin,
Why did I-
Shane Dawson. Actually, the biggest
That's
margin.
good, honestly, because people recognize that it's brutal.
Trisha is happy that Shane won the award, and Trisha goes on to say at the start of this podcast that she was annoyed that they wanted to nominate Shane in a negative award thing, and the only way she would allow Ethan to put Shane down was if Trisha could put Jack's films down on someone. Trisha doesn't like that, so if he was nominated, Shane could be nominated. And I just think it's really weird just how hard Trisha will go to defend this man, you know what I mean? Because he's not even defending himself.
57%,
There we
and I
go.
have to say, I think it was the fact that Shane had such an explosive year,
Of course, yeah.
and then such an explosive cancellation.
Yeah, because he was so at the height of his,
I like Shane. I feel bad because it's like, again, like I said, Krista Lee was actively doing scummy things.
Right.
Shane, there was a lot of like tasteless gags
From before I met him, all
Tasteless gags. This is the thing, right? This is how it's pushed off. Tasteless gags. This is the first time, though, that we're seeing YouTubers actually stand by that the stuff that we're seeing is disgusting. Including the likes of YouTubers who are deleting their videos with him, who are doing statements saying that they can't stand beside it. You know what I mean? I get it. It's more interesting to be on the side supporting him because, there's less people doing that. Okay, Trisha and Ethan, I guess. I don't know.
those jokes were like before I even met him. There's not one video where he's making those jokes with me. I met him in 2011. You know what I mean? So he was, yeah. And but the fact that Jenna's number 2, this is great because they're recognizing people who
That
should
was
have been
brutal.
canceled.
Let's not compare Jenna Marbles and Shane Dawson. I'm so fucking tired of people doing this because that's what Shane did in his initial video. We've talked about this again and again and again. The only reason he did his take an accountability video was because he said he was inspired by Jenna Marbles' a message video of her leaving the platform. He said that is the only reason, considering he was literally getting called out for this stuff and it was being resurfaced and he was deleting things in the background for 3 or 4 weeks before he did his video. And so it took Jenna Marbles leaving the platform for him to want to take any sort of account. Is that not alarming to anyone? So the fact now that Trisha's like, oh yeah, we love Jenna, and the fact that Shane and Jenna are being recognized, this is great. No!
It was like unjustified is what I'm saying.
Because she got canceled too for making like Asian jokes and like
yeah,
No, that's the difference. Jenna Marbles as well was not getting cancelled. Jenna Marbles saw her peers getting cancelled, which is why, I don't know why people keep forgetting this. Jenna Marbles was not a victim of cancel culture. Jenna Marbles saw what was happening to her peers and reevaluated her content, which she does every single fucking year. She has so many videos on her channel where she's watching her older stuff and being like, you know what, I'm not this person anymore, I don't stand by this style of content. She did that exact same thing, coming from a Jenna Marbles fan, did that exact same thing in the message video, holding herself accountable for the content, which is what we asked of these people with the big platforms who gained off of this. She held herself accountable and said she can't stand by it, and she wants to reevaluate the stuff she put out and the stuff she would put out in the future. That's the difference between Jenna Marbles and the rest of these folks out here. So don't say Jenna Marbles was, her and Shane were cancel culture. Completely unrelated. Jenna Marbles saw it happening to other people, reevaluated her own content, came forward with it, which is why her video was presented in such a different way than someone doing a typical apology video. There's a reason that Jenna Marbles' a message video is so different than Jeffrey's doing what's right video. You know what I mean? Because Jenna was genuine and came forward herself and was like, you know what? These videos have been off the internet for a while, but I want to show you them again and be like, this is what I was putting out there and what I don't want to stand by anymore. And I'm sorry to who I offended by this. That's not what Shane Dawson did. Even in his fucking final taking accountability videos. So don't put them on the same level, Trisha.
I feel like people are interpreting this as unjustified because Chris D'Elia only has 10%, Tati.
Right. Like, they think Tony
Tyro,
Lopez, or they don't know who that is, but he should be canceled.
But anyway, almost 60% for Shane, so congratulations to Shane, I think, for most brutal cancellation. 20. Well deserved.
Yeah, people want him back, and he will be
back. Can we get
love him.
Shane can come back at any time.
Yeah.
People would love him. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Shane.
Did we see that? Did we see that? There we go. From the person who's been saying that they've been seeing Shane so much recently. Here we have it. They go, Shane will come back, and she goes, yeah, people will love him. He has it, and stops herself. Look at this.
He should be canceled.
But anyway, almost 60% for Shane. So
she was going to say something.
I think, for most brutal cancellation.
Look.
Well deserved.
Yeah, people want him back, and he will be
back. Can we get
love him.
Shane can come back at any time.
Yeah.
People would love him. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Shane.
She was probably going to say he has a really big plan or a really big idea or a really big video or something like that. This literally goes to show us that the people on the inside of this know that Shane is coming back very soon. There we go. There we have it. This clip was being resurfaced all over Twitter because people were like, yep, here we have it from someone who's literally in the know going that he has a plan to come back. Now again, we're filling in her sentence, but literally based on the fucking 3 sentences before that, we know what she was implying.
For most brutal cancellation. 20. Well deserved.
Yeah, people want him back, and he will be
Can
back.
we get
love him.
Shane can come back at any time.
Yeah.
People would love him. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Shane can come back at any time, people will love him. And Trisha goes, he has a... and stops herself. She wouldn't stop herself for any other reason. She's keeping it under wraps. And obviously Shane is in his reflecting period right now. So let's just continue on to hear what they say. It only lasts for a little bit.
Congratulations.
Can we set that aside? I'll
Oh yeah, please.
She'll give it to her.
Should we engrave it first?
She said, I think he'll think of this like an honor. Y'all hear that?
Yeah, people want him back, and he will be
back. Can we get
love him.
Shane can come back at any time.
Yeah.
People would love him. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Shane. Congratulations.
Can we set that aside? I'll
Oh yeah, please.
I think he'd be
Well,
honored.
should we engrave it first?
Trisha said, I think he'll be honored.
It's just plastic. Can you engrave it?
We can, yeah, we can.
There we go. There we have it.
Little knife.
Trisha said that he'll literally be honored with it. That's the attitude they have towards this. And you know what? At the end of the day, they're all going to continue to have that attitude, and there's nothing we can do about it. And you know the way they're saying that Shane will come back and he'll be loved and have the audience? That's true. You know the literal proof of this? Jeffree Star being able to get this whole news story about the Kanye West, and he uploads a video, and his video gets like 6 million views. And people are loving it. Because people will switch, and people really don't care to hold these people accountable. So you know what? When Shane posts his video back, I'm telling you now that I know for a literal fact he will get millions of views, probably like 10 to 30 million views, and he'll get an overwhelming amount of love in it. You know why? Because he has like 20 million subscribers now. Those are people who joined his platform whenever he was doing problematic stuff, so they didn't have a problem with it, and they'll continue to not have a problem with it. He will come back, he will be fine, he will always make a big amount of income, and it's just honestly, like, if he can come back and present himself in a way that's like some sort being honest or truthful, or but now that Trisha's like, yeah, he'll look at this like an honor, you know, being cancelled award. It shows us that people on the inside aren't even taking it seriously. So again, Shane isn't, and him posting on social media and ignoring, you know, being called out, whatever. It's going to be interesting to see how he comes back, and there will always be an audience there for him, but it will just be interesting to see, you know, how he moves forward. Again, I think he'll have no problem coming back to the platform, as weird as that sounds, because we're so deep in this now. But it'll always be there, and his channel being monetized again, he'll always make great income on YouTube, so he'll never, in my opinion, be, you know, put away from the platform. So, I mean, it's an interesting conversation, and I do think that he will post a video, and it will be some sort of like reflecting video, and people are going to be like, yeah, we were so harsh on you, King, and they'll love him again. It's what's going to happen. Literally, all the drama channels are talking behind the scenes, knowing that this is going to happen. The commentary channels are talking about this, and the journalists are starting to hear insight. You know what I mean? This is the kind of stuff that happens whenever these people get cancelled and go away for a couple months. You know what I mean? Jeffree, Shane, Tati. Tati is actually doing a really weird approach where she's actually, you know, keeping herself quiet. Shane couldn't even do that. Tati did her breaking her silence video and went into another motherfucking silence. Shane wasn't even able to do that. You know, he's been posting on his Instagram, he's been promoting stuff, he's been releasing merch. He has no problem with doing that, so he will come back whether he pretends to care or not, we'll see. But we know, we've been following the timeline of events, that he hasn't been taking it seriously, so at least, you know, we're tuned in that respect. And what more can we ask, you know, to be just aware of what these people are doing, you know what I mean? If people want to support him, literally, we're not in control of that. But at least we're tuned in to know that the timeline of events, that if he's like, you know, I went away for months just self-reflecting, doing nothing, not on social media, that's bullshit. We can, you know, go back to all these videos from drama channels who were reporting on you not doing that. And so I think it'll call out the inconsistencies in a big way. And you know what? The most we can ask for is that, I don't know what the most we can ask for, because if he comes back and say that he's reevaluated his life, he literally has not been doing that. And especially Trisha speaking up and be like, he has a really big plan, or, you know, he's gonna love this cancelled award, or whatever. It just shows that, and then her, you know, deflecting and attacking the Smiths and not even addressing why they were mad at Shane, again, just shows that this is the attitude they have. There's nothing we can do about it. And I want to know what your opinion is on that. Again, whenever I'm talking to people about this, it really frustrates them. And it used to really frustrate me, and it still does, but I think less so now, because I'm like, you know what? He's going to come back. He's not going to care. And it, you know, this is how it goes. It'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. I know we'll be here for the ride that's going on. Or, well, I won't speak for you. I'll ask you if you are. But it'll be interesting, I think. I love you. Thank you for watching this video. Stay safe, stay happy, and yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.